Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Early Child Commission Instagram series. Look here, you're in for a treat this afternoon. The topic for this afternoon will be Let's Talk ASQ-J, understanding the ASQ-J for your child's development. I am your host, Stacey Campbell Cargill, aka Diamond. And guess what? We have some lovely ladies with us this afternoon. Now to my extreme left, we have Miss Lorian Robotham, who is the manager, ECD Assessment Services Unit. Also, we have Miss Chazelle Campbell. She is the ECD psychologist. And Miss Sophia Stewart, the Jamaica School Readiness Coordinator. Now, parents, if you missed the first one, you would have missed something thought-provoking and informative. They spoke about the JSRA, which is the Jamaica School Readiness Assessment. Now, ladies, how are you this afternoon?
So much better now that we are here with
I
you.
see the smiles. I see the smiles. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
But before we go in depth, I want to find out who went to PDI 2025.
We couldn't have missed it.
Couldn't be missed. Couldn't be missed.
Look here,
It
my
was
thought
bigger
exactly.
and better. My word.
Next year is going to be even bigger and better, right?
Definitely.
2026. Parents,
Definitely.
if you missed that one this year, come next year for PDI 2026.
Can't miss
Alright?
it.
No, never. Don't.
And we
No.
must commend you,
Oh.
Stacey.
Thank
It
you.
was such a treat to have you host it. I was on my feet doing things that I never knew I could do. I was singing along, and I was learning. So I really appreciated how you hosted the sessions. It was excellent. So kudos to you.
And the parenting track that
Yes.
you were co-moderator with
Yes.
your other colleague, it was just awesome, and we can't stop talking about that father session.
That was lovely.
Indeed,
And
it
we're
was.
graced by one of our own in Parliament. Who remember that name?
Yes, ma'am.
Minister Green, don't you?
Yes, Minister Green.
Yes, he was there. So it was an informative one, and we do hope that next year will be even better.
It
than
will
this
be.
year.
It will be.
Amen.
The-
I second that one, third one, fourth one.
Yes, definitely.
Parents, look out for it. Now, let us get straight to it. We're talking about ASQ-J here. And we know that parents here and there may be asking, because I'm in the field, I'm a development officer with the Early Child Commission, and parents have been asking questions. What is this ASQ-J? So, Miss Sophia, could you just shed some light on what is this all about?
All right. So the afternoon parents, afternoon Jamaica, and the rest of the world. So ASQ, even before we get to ASQ-J, it's Ages and Stages questionnaire. It's a screening and monitoring tool. So the goal is not to diagnose the child, not to label your child as something that we are against. We don't want to label our children. And it helps to highlight their progress as well as potential developmental delays. When we look at the JSRA, the Jamaica School Readiness Assessment, we realize that we got the screening perspective from the lens of the teacher. It was a teacher's observation for a complete school year, and that's from September right down to June, and they would have been documenting their observations. And so with the ASQ-J, or the ASQ where Jamaica is at, that is now done by that screening, that assessment is done by our field officers who have been trained to carry it out. Now, we know the two areas, the progress as well as the potential delays, but we also have to consider the domains that are covered.
Yes.
So there are basically particular areas under Ages and Stages questionnaire, Jamaica, that would be covered in this assessment. First, communications. We also have problem solving, which is a big item that is being discussed more than ever, because we want to watch how critically our children are thinking.
Right there.
There is the personal social, and there is also the gross motor and fine motor skills. Just to add a bit of history, we actually piloted and we got license, the permission, because our manager has begun highlighting the fact, Lori, that it's nothing illegal. We got permission to use the ASQ edition 3, ASQ-3, and it can be adopted culturally, and that is what was done. And so in 2013, we now have Ages and Stages questionnaire Jamaica.
Our very own.
Our very own.
Yes, ownership right
That
there.
is a big deal. I think a milestone, another milestone under the early childhood sector, with the Early Childhood Commission at the helm for Jamaica, that there is an adopted screening tool that belongs to us, Jamaican, and everyone a part of this nation should be proud. Now, this is again a follow-up from JSRA. So not all our children from the National Age for Assessment would be a part of the Ages and Stages questionnaire Jamaica. It's our children who would have been referred to field officers, and just want to remind our viewers from the first segment that there are 3 possible responses from the National Age for Assessment, where the child is on track, or the child needs to be monitored in class, or the child is referred, just to say that the child needs that additional support, and we are here to give that support.
Well done. Thank you very much, Sophia. I love the fact that you mentioned no labeling.
No labeling.
And I just want to say this to the parents. I sit here, I listen to Sophia when she spoke just now. And we as parents, yes, I'm a parent, we tend to kind of use our other children.
Compare.
Yes, compare other children with our children. And like, oh, Miss Jane daughter, she can run, she can skip, to why you can't
Your big
do it.
sister,
So,
your big brother.
yeah, could I do this? Or who you not do this? Parents, please. This is from doing that. Sophia spoke highly on development. Remember, your child developed, every child developed differently. Alright? Every child development, and that differently, and that's what I want you to keep in mind. That's why the ASQ-J is here in Jamaica, and that's why we are the Early Child Commission. We're using this tool, not an assessment, not a test. This tool to assess the children. So thank you very much, Sophia, for sharing that. Blessings. Now, I know you are engaged, I know you are getting the information. So at this time, I want you to drop a heart, no man. Drop a heart in the chat so we know that you're there with us. Jamaica, we want to know that you're there with us. Parents, we want to know that you're there with us and you're enjoying what is happening now. Now, thank you very much again, Sophia. Now, I want to go to Lori. Lori, Sophia spoke highly about the ASQ-J, what's all about. But then now parents at times will say, but why we need to hear the importance of this ASQ-J? We need you to just delve in a little bit more as to the importance of using this tool.
I can give you very various reasons to pick one. We know from a lot of things are happening developmentally, especially in our brains, right? So if we have the opportunity to seize that particular moment where we recognize, okay, there might be a challenge here, how is it that we provide an environment that will support the rewiring, so to speak, of our brain? We are saying this is the perfect opportunity. You know how you Jamaica say you want to bend the tree before it.
Yes,
it's going to be way more difficult if a child, is pre-teen intervention will be more effective. We're not saying that the child can't be helped at those later stages, but it will be so much easier if we caught it from the get-go, we work with that child, and so those temperaments, those behavior, the learning deficiencies that we may see will be able to support that child. So that's just the scientific part, all right?
Indeed,
all right. So we're going to jump now to the human rights part. We are saying that every child, regardless, they have a right to quality early childhood education.
Don't you agree with this?
Yes, we do.
Definitely, our mandate at the Early Childhood Commission through our vision statement is providing all children with access to quality early childhood. What does quality look like? It looks like if I am having a difficulty learning a particular way, then the environment should really change to support me. So if it is that Mrs. teaching me 1 + 1 = 2, and we're just not seeing the 2, maybe you need to show me what one really looks like. And I'm there engaged in several activities to understand that one-to-one correspondence, to figure out that, okay, this means what. Because if I don't get what one looks like, I can't put the one and one and
that adaptation not going to
be.
happen.
So you're looking at concrete before we go to the abstract. So for us, we're saying despite where the child is, in terms of demographic location, social background, they have a right to quality education. Recently I attended early stimulations school day ceremony, and it was really a pleasure for me to be there because it exposed me to a light that I was really happy to see. From my experience, I was a development officer as well.
Ooh,
yeah. So the driving around, yes, kind of miss it a little. But I would recognize that some parents were hesitant to have their children come home if it is that they don't think that they are functioning the same way as the neighbor's child. So when a teacher would say, Miss, a parent lives right there, so I'm not sending out the picnic, you can have a conversation and see if you can make it come out. You talk to the parent, they might say my picnic can do some
the labels. We're right back to the labels.
Right back there.
So we're saying, but if we keep him at home, he won't get the exposure that he needs. He won't get to engage in the activities to learn how to So we had to have that conversation and ease her into the mindset that closing up your children because you think that other persons may be saying cruel and insensitive things.
Right.
Sometimes we do. It's not going to help our children, and we always look at the focus is at how is it that we can help, how is it that we can support our children. So when I went to this early STEM graduation and I saw so many neurodivergent learners, we had physically challenged children. I saw one of my dear friends, baby, who's all grown up. She was an awardee for the Prime Minister Youth Award.
Wow.
To see Nathaniel giving the
That's
speech.
my son's name.
Yeah.
My son's name.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
A testimonial because he attended early STEM. And to hear him encourage the parents, talk to fellow students that despite what might be happening, they can do it and they can become like him. And, he went to JC and he did very well, and he's at university. It was just so good to see where he is and the possibility and the potential. And we're saying, do not limit our children, do not restrict their potential based on what we might be seeing right now. There's more to them. We were in the sick bay and she just laid him there and she said, "What am I gonna win?" And that just jumped at me in terms of access. There was that mother's love that, okay, this is my baby. Where will I take him? How will he be supported? Remember, no, we're in the educational system and we are concerned. So you might have other parents who genuinely don't know. And so we want to bring that awareness that we're trying to make these steps. We're trying to screen so that we can pick up on certain issues. If it is that your child is developing well, then we have a body of work to show your growth and your development.
We have the documentation.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're creating a profile of your child. Maybe we're recognizing that your child is really good with problem solving and can stem them up a little. STEM is an approach that.
Right.
So it's just getting that information about your child so we can grade up, support them grade up. And we can talk about the money part. So in terms of the economic lens, if we are going to wait until our children reach, ages 15 and 16, the cost for adults, the cost for intervention services at that time, and the length of time that it would take, the frequency of intervention that it would take for you to really get those developmental goals in, it's going to be significantly more costly than if we
get it right from the start.
Right. That phrase there.
Getting it right from the start.
I heard that, viewers. Getting it right from the start. Go ahead.
And so we know that if we have children who are functioning in their full potential, it would make for better communities. It would make better Jamaica. It will be that place that already everybody wants to be here, but can you imagine if we are more tolerant with each other in terms of our responses? We can self-regulate. We can use kind words. We would have a much more, enjoyable, relatable, productive, high-functioning country. So we want to bring that sense of community where, yes, we're looking at the child and we're also looking at the big picture where, as a society, we'll be so much better. We've seen a lot of cruelties on the news where, somebody, the reaction to an action was so, you're like, but what's happening? Perhaps that child was one of those children that had self-regulation issues and we didn't spend the time to teach them how to manage their big feelings. It manifests in other things. I might start with just one something and then it spill off to other things. So I can go all day for why I think you should stop because I really can't.
But I think you can summarize it with the three
eyes.
Yes.
So it's help me with the eyes.
So the whys.
The whys and the eyes. So in assessment we always talk about our eyes, our three eyes.
Identifying, that's right.
So we have to know who you are in terms of what your profile is, what areas we need to strengthen, right? We have to look at our intervention steps. We do have our individual learning support plans that we ask for our teachers through our development officer support and our other field officers, our community relation officers, and our inspectors to support the institution, the parents, the families in writing and supporting. That's the intervention part, right?
Inclusion, that's right.
And then the other eye now, which is the inclusion aspect. We want an environment where it's inclusive, where every child gets that sense that they belong, regardless of their background, regardless of what you think their capabilities are. And an environment is created to really push and support and, unearth all these talents. So we're big on inclusion. So I will stop before you.
Okay, viewers, let me tell you, so it's called an Instagram. It's Early Child Education, Early Child Commission Instagram series. Everything can be done in one sense.
No.
It can't be done. So I'm going to leave this quote with you before I go to Miss Chanel. You're looking so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
It says, development isn't a race. It's about spotting areas where children need extra love and support early. All right, that's some of everything that Sophia and Laura would have mentioned just now. So, Chevelle, we heard about what ASQ is all about. And we heard about the why. Now we want to know, how does it work? Parents want to know how it works. Because many of them come, I don't know my child is coming, what am I going to do? How it works?
So, how it works is, I would say it's a very simple process. So, it's nothing to fear. It's not a test that you have to prepare them for and drill them.
No.
They're not coming in an environment where we're taking them into a little room by themselves. How the ASQ-J works. So, firstly, they would have done the JSRA, which would be the screener.
Right.
And if we find that, this child may be having some challenges here or there, or they may need, they're referred by their early child institution, or maybe by one of the development officers. Then they are referred, and they are referred to one of our resource centers or one of our satellite centers. So when they come to these, they come in with the parent. They're allowed to sit with the parent.
Right here.
The only thing is that we say, mommy, daddy, grandma, you can't talk. Because sometimes, you will be there and want to prompt them and say, but you do this at home. So it's really just to be there. So it's easier on the child and it's also easier on the parent. So when they come in, it's very simple. What we're doing, we are assessing, Sophia spoke to them earlier, the 5 domains.
Right.
And how we do it is a very simple and even, I might say, fun process. So when we're talking about things like communication, we talk about verbal and non-verbal. So we see how the children respond to everyday questions, because what we're trying to see is how well these children are just functioning in life. So we can say where. So it's not just about them being bright or them going to say my child slow or them going to say them not so bright. It's not about
or
that.
giving them a stack of paper and tell them to sit down and do the test.
So
remember, it's not a test, it's a tool.
So we're not doing any of that. So for communication, is asking the child to answer simple questions. See if they can compare. See if they can do things like, tell you a story, how something happened, relate. So do they know the difference between tomorrow or yesterday, or when you say you soon get it? So how well they're able to relate in times of time and space. And it helps because sometimes as you concrete concept, you have to teach the concrete first before we can go to the abstract. So when if the child does the ASQ-J and we realize that, listen, there's a little fall down, what we do is tell you things that you can use to improve that domain. So when we're talking about fine motor and gross motor, those are big words, but we just want to see how well the child's balance and coordination happening. So if maybe there's a problem with the ears, the balance, so maybe that is how we're going to pick it up. Because maybe the child not learning because they're not hearing well. They're not hearing well, and you don't realize that something happened. So when we do it, we're not going to come and shine down anything in the air.
No,
it's literally just games like hopscotch, hopping, skipping, jumping. We're asking them to throw a ball for the fine motor to see how well they can work, they can draw, if they can color within the lines, and these are things that parents will be doing at home anyway. So some of the things that you're already doing, you're strengthening their brain functions and for the domains. So what we'll do is tell you. So if we realize that maybe the child on the tablet too much and the fingers not working as well as we want it to, we're like, listen, we can give them Play-Doh, or we can give them dumpling and make them eat, and you can give them clothes pegs and you make them pin out them socks. These are little things that you can do every day. If we realize that in terms of problem solving, the child's short-term memory is not as sharp, what we encourage parents to do is to just give them a little bit of complex instructions. So don't tell me, go for the water. Tell the child, all right, get up, go for the water, put it in the fridge, and then bring something back. So you give 3-step instructions so that the child's functioning and working memory can be improved. So then we talk about problem solving, fine, gross motor, and we talk about all of those things. And then the other part is really just assessing their independence. So we ensure that the personal social is just independent. So how well they can use, because at 4 we expect them to be able to use the restroom and by themselves and what they do after, because some big people,
they don't know.
They're not doing it because it was not caught at this area and at this stage. So we want to ensure that wherever we see they're not functioning as well, we ensure that, listen, mommy, and then what we do, so that's my purpose. So if it's something that Sophia mentioned, it can be, an individual plan is written for the teacher. But when they come to the ASQ-J at the end of the screening, we tell the parents things to do so they can start working on it. And if it requires a referral, there are other things that we can do in-house. Because some of the children are working well enough, but we realize there's a lot of grief and maybe they want additional counseling, or we realize it's a behavioral challenge that is hindering the learning. And those are things that we can, address in-house, or use the resources that we have at the Early Child Commission and get those done. So in essence, that's what we do, and that's the process. Simple, fun. So parents engage, and the parents don't need to worry about anything at all.
And integrity, it's a must. Confidentiality, it's a must. We ensure, Lori had mentioned it earlier, that the rights of our children, but we know that our parents have rights too.
Right.
And as a nation that is signatory to the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, in all that we do, we respect the rights of both child and parent.
So it's more than just even the rights, because when they do it, when we have the paper come back for validation. A name is not there. We use a registration number so that the confidentiality is maintained. And it's not just what these persons who did the assessment said. There is a comparison to ensure that everything is done. So definitely we are doing it to ensure that, you know, that we get the best results. And what we're saying to you, we know that those are, you know, factual and accurate.
And just to add to what Chevelle was saying, in terms of the Data Protection Act, we're very, very conscious about privacy and maintaining the integrity of our data.
Right,
so we would have gotten, you know, sensitive information in terms of, you know, things that the average person would not want the whole wide world to know about. And so we put a lot of steps in place to make sure that we are safeguarding people's private information. So, you know, Chevelle just mentioned about, you know, having a unique number assigned to a child. Even when we're processing, Stacey may not be exposed to everything. She might just see incremental parts, so she will not see the full, right? So we have to reiterate, though, that we know that's a consensual process. The parents have to give us permission to engage with their children, and they do have that. Right. They do sign the forms. We do have some picture taking. You see, we like to we
Capture,
like, it's a
capture
part of our documentation
active.
as well, but we do ask our parents to sign, you know, different forms to say you're giving us permission to, and what purpose it is for. So persons don't feel like, you know, the government is asking them to do all this and they have to. We have a session where we talk to our parents about what the process is like, what to expect. And so they are given, you know, time to, and we have to give, you know, support to our principals and our teachers. They're a big part of they're a big part of the process, because in terms of reaching the parents, you know, they help us a lot. So they too will be telling the parents that, okay, you might expect a call from the Early Child Commission. It's about, you know, us trying to get some more information about your child and to you know, support this process. Messaging is important to us. We don't want to hear something wrong with your child and the government wants to know.
That's what they're thinking sometimes.
Yes.
That's what they're thinking. That's why I'm glad for this platform.
Yes.
Just to set the record straight.
Yes.
So we don't want it to be a case where persons are just having this perception that it has to be something wrong. Development is something that's very dynamic. You know, today I may not be able to, but in a week after I cannot do it better than
Especially
you.
with enough support and the right tailored support.
Right.
Yes.
And so we are also keen on that. You'll hear that labeling. We don't want that kind of negative connotation. Because your words matter and it does impact. The children may not be able to articulate, but they're absorbing it.
Yes, they are.
So, you know, we don't, you know, every day you hear say it don't have no sense. After a while, you believe say it don't have no sense. And so we definitely
And then act accordingly.
There you go.
Thank you. So we don't want the ASQ-J to be that placard of something wrong with the child. It's just us trying to get some more information. It's just
And
us
give that support.
The support.
Yeah, it's
So
just
that you
us
mentioned that
trying to get
support.
a profile, a learning profile about your child. I must too mention that we are looking at our transition into grade 1.
Yes.
So the ministry, as in Ministry of Education,
Information.
is working really closely with us, and we're happy for that partnership, where we're looking at, you know, closely looking at information that we're getting about our learners and preparing them for grade 1 in terms of their readiness.
Yes.
If it is that they're showing from a national perspective, if we're having issues with literacy, let's say, then clearly a grade 1 is still in place to receive those children, to help them out. So it's good that we're working. It's going to be a lot of interministerial connections.
Yes.
Has a lot to do with health.
Yes.
Psychologists is
That's
here and
right, yeah,
specialists
on
and
spot.
stuff. But we're working hard in terms of trying to get that network built so that we can offer greater support to all of our children. So I'm really excited that we have this platform to share.
Yes.
I am happy too.
The 2025 cycle is coming up, so if you get the call, please send your child and be a part of this process.
And that's starting.
Here, parents, I want you to know more because this is something that parents need to know. Some of them, they're unaware of it. And I'm going to say this to you. In the field, I get this. Come in, miss, what is this all about? And we have to give them that, give them that space really. Tell them what it's all about.
And it's a part of the process.
It is. It is. And then giving the consent for us to do the assessment. Use the tool to do assessment. And what I love about it is that when they actually sit down and see their children doing the different activities and doing it correctly, the smiles on their faces.
Right,
And one of the,
and
and one of the things that I know you would have heard a lot is, but him a go grade 1.
Yes.
So you don't need to do this again.
I've heard that. I've heard
and one
it.
of the recently I was sitting in and observing some of the sessions, and there was this one child who was doing a reassessment. And before, all the things that the domains that we were told that, she was not doing as well. And because they knew the problem areas and the intervention happened, full marks right across, and like she was just doing everything. Like you could see the development, everything, and the parents were so proud, and they were saying, listen, she's going into grade 1, but because of the intervention and the information that we got, we decided to send her to summer school.
Right.
We decided to send her to a tutor. We bought some new toys,
And even help at home.
and they said the information that they got before really helped in terms of having them do more at home. So because they were co-parenting, and the house, one set of toys over his house, and they were so proud to see that the early intervention. It was very important and it worked. So now this child is going into grade 1 and they can be assured that she's ready.
I just want to hint on something that Chevelle pointed out. She spoke to the joy of the parents, but the joy of the children, the child, when they realized that they were not able to maneuver and to do the activities and to see that teacher helping me. I see the persons from ECC, home is helping, mommy and daddy is helping, and I can come back and achieve this, then it's like that level of confidence that is built within the child. In a recent article, Stacey contributed by our chairman, the ECC chairman, Mrs. Trisha Williams Singh, she spoke to engagement during the summer. Sometimes we believe that it should be just, if the workbook not finished, complete the workbook. And it's more than that. It needs hands-on engagement. She spoke to concentration and having puzzles and these memory games, simple activities. It can be artwork, cost effective. That it's not going to cost you much. It's not going to cost you much to build these areas, these same domains that are going to come up back in these in the assessment. And we just need to understand, Jamaica, the world needs to understand that the Early Childhood Commission is here to support you. Teachers need to understand we're here to support you. We are a team. Lori highlighted interministerial. We have to collaborate to get it done. It's not going to happen unless we work together.
Well put. Ladies, I wish you could stay a little longer. but viewers, join us next time. And I really wanted you to just share one important point. But we're going to leave that. We're going to leave the viewers wanting more. We are the Early Child Commission. Young people have always said phrase, we be clocking here. I know you know it. We be clocking here at the Early Child Commission. So, let me just say to you, thanks for joining today's live. It was helpful. I know it was helpful. And I want to share with parents or teachers and please, let us support Jamaica's children together, because one stage at a time will make a brighter future for Jamaica and at large, the world. Because our children are not only staying here in Jamaica, they're flying abroad.
Yes.
They're carrying what they're learning here in Jamaica overseas. So, let me ask you a question in the chat. I'm going to ask you a question, and quickly, if you can just drop something in there. Why is this important for my, why is this important for my child to do simple? Oh, there's a question in the chat. My apologies.
Yes.
It says, why is this important for my child to do simple development activities? How does that help with reading and writing? So that is from Saki Bex.
Yes.
So why is it important for my child to do simple development activities?
Yes.
And how does this help with reading and writing? So anybody can just quickly grab on that question.
Alright, so we mentioned, so Saki probably came on a little late. So we mentioned the developmental activities. So we spoke about the gross motor and the fine motor. Once those muscles and coordination, everything is up and running properly, the child is able to grasp a pencil properly. So that is integral in terms of writing. When we spoke earlier about the communication and we talked about problem solving. So in those areas, working memory. So in terms of how the child will remember letters and the letter sounds, that is important. So once you know the A goes up and you know the B goes B, then you're able to say if you see A and B together, it's supposed to go up, B. So you know that that's supposed to be up. So then you can start with phonetics, and that will help in terms of reading. So all the domains really help. So in terms of writing, the gross motor, your fine motor, and the other domain, which is the personal social, where you see how the child can remember, the communication, as well as the, which one I left off? The personal social and communication and problem solving. Those are what will help the child to remember the letters, remember the letter sounds, so they can put those together to help with the read and apply. And also the sight words. So the problem solving and the communication techniques that we exposed earlier in the domains, those will help them to remember the sight words, bring them back when they need it, so ensure that the reading can be fluent, have the right enunciation, and they can start putting and comprehension as well. So
like you mentioned about the writing, she asked what activities could be used. So even in the fine motor activities, the cutting of the papers and stuff like that. Play-Doh,
the clothespins,
all of those things. So there you have it.
So just involving her child in
short. And have fun doing it. Right. So, you know, something I would have shared with my teachers, because I said I'm a development officer. You're at home with your children and you're hanging up clothes. Send them to for 5 red clothes.
Red, yes.
Go for 5 blue clothes. Go, give them nothing. You get the learning numbers, the learning colors,
language coming out.
Language and fine motor as well, because they're going to be opening it.
They're a commissioner. And look here, I won't say nothing more. What I'm going to say to you, it says I want you to follow TikTok at ECC Jamaica, Facebook, the Early Child Commission, X, ECC-J, I hope you're writing it down, please. Instagram, Early Child Commission, YouTube, at the Early Child Commission Jamaica, and LinkedIn. You see, I need to get with the Early Child Commission. Now, just to wrap up, I want all of you just to share just one phrase that you will leave with the parents this afternoon.
I just say love your child.
Love your child. Chabelle?
Early intervention is always the best thing.
Sophia?
Support. We're here to support.
Thank you very much, ladies, for being here. Thank you very much, viewers, for being here with the Early Child Commission Instagram series. I was your host, Stacey and Amanda Campbell Cargill, aka Diamond. We will see you next time on the Early Child Commission Instagram series.